Hi, Kyle Meredith, and this is Scott Hutchinson from Frightened Rabbits.
Hello.
Back again.
Yeah, back once again.
It's been a few years. I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you. We last spoke on a lovely grassy bank, I believe.
This is quite different.
It's not quite as grassy.
We're not in a wind tunnel this time around, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it was a complete wind tunnel.
Yeah.
Now that was fun. We had some nice conversations about what was it, bourbon versus Scotch. I remember that part.
Yeah.
And times have changed.
Well, for me as well. I spent 2 years in the United States, and
That's right.
and a girl turned me around to bourbon.
Is that right?
True.
That's
True.
Well, I'll
True
applaud
story.
that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to stop. It was tearing me apart.
Completely.
It was actually the drinking was tearing me apart. It's
Okay,
It's
fair
like
enough.
ripping my stomach in two.
It can do that. Yeah.
I think I hit my quota early, like earlier than I was supposed to,
All right.
and then you can't do that anymore.
I get that.
Yeah.
I think I always thought there's going to be a point where I'm just like not going to. I'll have had all the drinks that I should have.
Right.
You know,
Hasn't happened yet though.
not quite yet.
Well, it's nice though because since I've had to pull back, you've picked up the bourbon thing for me. So
I picked it up. It's okay. Yeah.
The
yeah.
industry doesn't suffer.
Thanks for
at this point.
sending those spare bottles.
That's no problem.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to help. The country thanks you. We're all
Oh
very
yeah, it's the service.
It's good. Anyway, so what is it? A painting of a panic attack.
That's
I
right.
almost said that backwards. Panic of a
It's
panic
a
attack.
bit of a tongue twister. I guess,
yeah. You've done another fine record.
Oh, thank you very much.
For Frightened Rabbits. Before we get into that, though, I read something, and it was a piece you did about interviewing a tree. You interviewed a tree.
I did. Brian, I think his name was.
Yeah, something like that. And this
Yeah.
was for another magazine.
It was a magazine in the UK called Q.
Q, that was it. Yeah, I know Q. No, but I only bring this up because I don't know if you did that as just kind of a total joke, but it was one of my favorite pieces of writing that I've read in a while.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It was half joke, and there were some little bits of, I guess, environmental concern in there.
Right.
So it was half and half. I thought it would, I think for me, I've always thought it's important to put yourself in other people's shoes as to be empathetic. But I don't think many people are empathetic with trees. And that's not, I'm not a hippie. Don't get me wrong. It's a completely false.
Keeps a hippie basher is what it's.
But I think there's something to be said for, just thinking about what we're doing here.
Yeah, no, I caught it. It's not like you tried to slide that in under the rug too much. I mean, if you get in the article, and I guess is what I was curious about a little bit though, because I don't know who I was hearing recently somewhere in the world of media, but they were talking about how you have a lot of political songs, but you don't have a lot of environmental songs, or at least that really
Not
take
really.
hold.
It's a tough
Like
one,
musicians
isn't
don't really tackle that too much.
No.
So
Sting maybe does,
Yeah.
but that's
Neil Young has some early ones.
I guess he has,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I find political difficult enough. I don't think I've ever really done that, and so environmental would be even tougher.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's hard not to sound like you're a tree hugger or something like that, but it needs to be said,
Right.
But maybe I think Billy Bragg should do it.
Billy Bragg
He
could
probably
do it. He
could do
probably
it.
has done it.
He probably has done it.
Billy Bragg just needs to be on a bigger level, where bigger megaphone or whatever. So it's actually heard.
does, he kinda-
it's-
yeah.
for a lot of reasons in that.
I would love him to run for a political post.
Yeah,
I think-
maybe he does better good this way.
Maybe he does.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool though to read it, and I know it's kind of a different outlet for you. And I don't know if you fancy yourself a writer in that sense of much, but like you could, by the way, like if that's the template, I would love to see you do more of this stuff.
Okay, I don't get asked to do it very often, and I do I require a brief. One of the reasons why I enjoy songwriting is the template is there. It's 3.5 minutes. I got a verse here,
Sure.
a chorus here, maybe a little in-betweeny bit there. That's what we call it in the trade, the
in-betweeny
bit. and that's something I can really hang my my vocabulary on. But if I am given a blank space, a blank sheet, and with no real agenda, I find that very difficult.
It's very hard. I have to do a bi-monthly article, and there's no assignment or anything like
Right.
that. And it's like,
It's just you have a deadline.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
it.
have to have
And you
this
have to
many
come
words
right.
yeah.
So the songwriting's a nice cop out. You can.
It kind of is, man. I mean, I'd love to be able to write a book, but I just think I would get lost in the structure, in the sort of lack of structure of it all.
Yeah.
It'd take me a long time.
Yeah. Well, I can at least praise this piece that you've done.
Great.
And
Thank you very much.
Anybody that hasn't seen it, Q, the magazine, you
Q
can find it
magazine.
online and just
You can.
search your name in Tree, Brian.
Pretty much.
You can find it. And the other bits, that were going in, because I know there was a bit of the gap, and I was reading in that same article, I think it was a different piece in there, that you got in really heavily to a cooking show, and I think it's a British cooking show.
Well, there's a couple that I'm into.
And then your bassist has really taken up cooking.
Oh, he's a great cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy actually, we were in the studio the first 2 weeks of making this album, up in a studio called Dreamland near Woodstock, and they're like a kind of self-catered thing. So Billy just, when he wasn't playing, he was making us lunch.
That's
and
nice.
it was delicious every day. It was just like,
Yeah.
our minds were blown.
Does this like change your road, eating at all? Because it's so easy to fall in, you got the fast food and what's on this exit and let's get the vending machines. But that's what I was thinking is like when you've got, apparently such a good cook in the band and you yourself who's very into the culinary arts right now. It's like that would...
Well, we have... No, it's funny you should mention that. It's a big issue on our tour right now. So pretty much since the last one, almost all of us have become vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
And then 2 vegans in the band. And then also we have this thing called Health Tour. And this is a contracted agreement between, I think there's 5 of us are doing it. There are 4 items that you cannot eat on show days.
Okay.
So I have chips, fries. That's one of my items. Soda, pizza, and bread. And the others have different. I mean, you've signed a contract,
and you cannot eat them.
If you eat them on a show day, you are docked your per diem, and your per diem goes to charity.
Wow. So you really gotta want that really badly if you're gonna step out and do that.
Very drunk and completely forget it. Nobody minds either. It's like, yeah, had a bit of pizza, give a bit of money to charity. It's fine. But yeah, it's just to kind of, we find that everyone's over 30 now. And it's not old as such, but it's older than when we were touring like Banshees, eating and drinking whatever we liked in our 20s. And that's not something we can get away with anymore.
It starts to hurt.
It hurts.
It hurts a lot.
It hurts in the morning.
So have you found is it challenging then to do this on the road? Like there's got to be some parts of the country where it gets close to impossible.
Yeah, it would be harder if we were able to request these things on our rider, so someone can, our hospitality, they have to probably go a little further than they might in Portland.
Right.
To find the gluten-free bread and all the kind of meatless treats and stuff, but that part is easy enough. It's the late night. That's where you struggle. Like, you're not gonna. Some places
That's how you end up at White Castle, man. We know the story.
God, yeah,
we all know that story.
Just picking out the lettuce.
It's 1:00 and you're starting to rationalize with yourself. You're like,
I'll break. I have broken down a couple of times in the vegetarianism, but I would not break for White Castle.
Nah,
because that's crap.
It is crap. Yeah, I know. I've toyed with the idea. I haven't walked to the vegetarian line, but I've toyed with the idea. Like I'm kind of messing with it.
Yeah, I just don't know what's in those things. That's what scares me.
Right.
Occasionally, I'll have a little prime steak.
And
because
again,
I know what that, if I...
Sure. But you've got to put your trust in strangers every single time.
You really do. A long line of strangers.
Yeah.
Like, there are a number of people involved in getting that into your mouth. and who knows?
And, if from my point of view, and this is unfair for me to say this, like, I can look at Europe and say, like, you guys are worlds ahead of us on figuring all of this stuff out, because it always seems like that. The United States is very much known as a fast food culture. I mean, we're in Louisville, Kentucky, which is home to so many fast food corporations.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like, how do we break ourselves of that? But you guys seem to have, like, you've got that into your brain, like, that's horrible. Why would you do that?
I don't know about that. In terms of Scotland, I don't want to bring them down, but we are quite consistently voted the least healthy country in Europe.
Is that true?
We have an affinity fried foods. So deep
Okay.
deep
Yeah,
fried
yeah, yeah.
is very much part of the diet. Like we're talking, you can have a deep fried pizza.
Oh, you can do that here.
I know you you can do it.
I mean, we have
anywhere,
our deep
but-
fried Oreos and deep
Yeah,
fried
okay,
butter and everything else. You
Oh,
know.
that one. Yeah, that one's weird.
That's a weird one.
But
Or
you
the
know,
donut burger. I mean, that's like, well, I guess donuts are sort of deep. We have the donut burger now.
Oh God!
It's a thing,
I just
man.
saw it. I just saw it appear
Yeah.
in your hands
You-
there.
You've got both the donuts and then you've got whatever the burger is in the middle. But yeah,
Oh,
that's a
my
thing.
word.
They've done that.
They've done everything.
You know.
Yeah.
USA. It's a sad.
You know, the
state.
one thing that you won't do, and it blows my mind, is you won't put corn on a pizza.
Corn on a pizza.
Sweet
No.
corn.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
like
good.
sweet corn, but no, I've never.
No, I know.
We do lots of. You know what I do? And this is going to sound. I like a sausage pizza.
Yep.
With chocolate pudding. Dip it in chocolate pudding. So see, you said sweet corn, and I'm like, that's weird.
Come on.
I'm going to throw that right back to you.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's just one of those things I think I accidentally did when I was like 5.
All right.
And so it's a nostalgia taste for me. It's like, yay, sweet and salty.
Sweet and salty
Sweet
is a
and
good
salty.
combination.
I think it's great.
I think it's a classic.
I
Okay.
can't find any other person that
Fine then. I'm in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You just want to try it one day.
Okay.
I don't know, but you got to break the sausage roll though, and the vegetarian to be able to do it off.
Of
So
course. Right. Okay.
yeah, good luck on that.
All right.
We've gotten so far away from this album, haven't we?
We have very much so. I don't mind. This is way more interesting.
I don't mind either. We got to bring up the album. We got to sell it to the good people out here.
Sure.
There you go. Because you and I were laughing off screen, and critics like to throw certain words at you guys that I really think is unfair because there's a style with Frightened Rabbit. You know? There's a brand.
I understand that.
Yeah. But do you ever feel like it's kind of unfair, the pigeonholing? Like, let me write what I'm going to write.
No, it does. Well, this is a concern of mine often when I'm starting to write an album, and I will start off with a different kind of tactic, try and remove myself from the songs a little bit more. And that happened on this one initially until my brother sent me an email saying, "Yeah, I don't like them. They're not so good."
No.
And yeah, it's hard. It's horrible to call it a brand. We were talking earlier about how making your own life a commodity does seem sometimes like a little bit sick or something. But I think I have to realize that I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this because I have to think about why did I write my first song? Not because I wanted to play it to everyone and be applauded, but because I sort of had to.
Right.
There was something in there that came out in this very neat form that appealed to me and it made me feel good. And that's what I was thinking about when I was doing this record. Is like, yeah, if it's not regressive. It's kind of just what makes us us.
Yeah. Do you think then, in the popularity sense, I suppose, because pedestrian verse, you guys were, I mean, you've gotten bigger every single time, I guess, and now you look at this one and here's album number 5.
Yeah.
Like, is this like, oh, we've got a go big or go home moment or anything like that? Does that stuff equate?
I thought, I mean, on the last album, even the one before that, I always thought, if this is it, this is it.
That's it.
It's fine. I mean, I think too many people. I think that's how you actually can destroy your own, your own band and career. Maybe is if you're expecting too much out of it. And we've already got more than I could have thought. If you told me 10 years ago this is what I'd be here. I'd even be here.
Yeah, right.
That would blow my mind. So I have to continue thinking along those lines. It's like I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, is that then the reason, like, so there was a solo record in between?
There was?
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting because there's a part of me, it's like, but that's what it started out as. Frightened Rabbit was a solo thing at the beginning, and suddenly now, and I get it, you have a band now, and they're your band, they're the family, they're part of the songs,
Yeah.
they're helping you write them. So now to do it alone again, it can't be the band.
Yeah, well, that was a purely selfish move. I mean, it couldn't, of course, some of those songs could have easily fitted on Frightened Rabbit album, but that wasn't the point. It was about feeling like I had only done this one thing for 10 years, and that had sort of removed dimensions of my character and being almost. I feel like I was just, even if I was out at a party or something and just like end up talking about Frightened Rabbit. It's like, stumps anything else. Let me do something
Right.
else. And although it was still music, it was like a freeing process, and it was an interesting process, and it was nothing to do with business or an audience. There was no audience in mind for this album. I didn't care. I didn't know if anyone was going to listen to it. I just wanted to make it for myself.
Yeah. It's so interesting, music as art versus many other art forms. How you have to do this in such a public way. How you
Yeah.
have to deal, with your own emotions and what's projected into songs that people then have, they take through themselves and they deconstruct. And then you also have to think about it in this business way.
Kind of. You
know.
can't remove that entirely from your brain. There are certain things that just, I think always when you're making a record, I would never think about like units,
Right.
But I do think of occasions where it's like, the outro to a song, you're like, "Ooh, that's going to be good in a live show."
Yeah.
But you do kind of have to remain aware that there's a very fine line between pleasing your audience and pleasing yourself. There's where do you sit on that?
Sure.
It's hard. It's a hard one because like I don't want people to hate it, but I need to feel good about it.
Yeah,
So,
but like, where's the line where you're just diving too far into yourself? And
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's not.
then you get the king of limbs. That's what you get.
Well, yeah, that might be true. That might be true.
So
You're still delaying me from hearing this Radiohead song, man.
Seriously, as we talked, is right when the Radiohead single dropped. So yeah, you're gonna have to get out of here. It's actually a good moment. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna set you free right now.
Oh, no, it's fine.
But I'll tell you that I do love this record.
Thank you, man.
Painting of a Panic Attack, and for everything that you might have had to go through to make this record, which I know is part of the deal and part of the game. It did make for a beautiful record.
Thank you.
So Scott,
I appreciate
it's
it.
great talking to you.
Great to talk to you,
We'll
man.
see you later.
All right.
Rabbit.